Okay, we're back. This time we're going to be talking about some of the bigger companies and the wave of layoffs happening across North America. If you don't recognize me, my name is Alex. I run an AI agency in Toronto. So we pay very close attention to labor markets. We pay very close attention to technology, even the housing market, just because everything's sort of tied together. Human beings are faced with an existential test of survival pretty much across all avenues of life, and it seems to be happening all at the same time. So we're trying our best to share the stories and the narratives, happening mostly from Canadians, but it's good to see Americans perspective as well. And we're getting a lot more subscribers and likes for this type of content. It seems like whenever we put up any sort of AI integration or technical content, literally no one cares, guys. Well, a few AI people appreciate it, but generally, people on YouTube, they want to see what other everyday people are experiencing. And so, you know, I feel it's our responsibility to sort of share that through the lens of technology and our perspective. But, let's get into it. Let's see what some of these our people are saying about the companies that are laying them off. Is AI to blame? Let's find out.
Layoffs, Google layoffs, Indeed. They're now laying off people due to AI.
I was laid off in March this year. It took me 6 months to find a new job. Got a new job 7 weeks ago, and now this new job has announced hundreds of layoffs.
So I think I'm being laid off from my job today.
That does impact your position. Today is going to be your last day.
I'm 30 years old. I am unemployed. I've been unemployed for
You know what? That's one thing that I quickly got used to because in my time growing up and before I was able to start the business, I got fired so many times. I'm watching all these people get laid off and fired. I'm like, just once. So if you're someone who's had a job for a long time, 9 to 5, and you've been pretty comfortable, and you just got laid off or fired, my heart's out to you. You're gonna have to get fired, anywhere between 3 to 4, 5 more times before you start to feel like, hey, you know what, this is just how it is. You might want to consider starting your own business. One thing I don't like to see when people are fired is the tears. That pulls the heartstrings for me. I've been, again, I've been through the uh, I've been through the chopper enough times to know, like, you can't cry. You really got to pull your socks up and get to it.
4 months. I literally can't get a job. I've applied to over 150 jobs. I now have negative $4.41 in my savings account
That's not
because of the
bad.
monthly service fee that just hit.
Salesforce just laid off 4,000 employees, claiming that they're now an AI-first company and that AI is making their workforce redundant. However, what they didn't tell the public is that in 2025 alone, they insourced 1,137 jobs, insourcing being the process of bringing workers to the US. It's the opposite of outsourcing. According to
So before we get into that, and this is, guys, this is where we really got to pay attention. The powers that be, Amazon, Google, Meta, this insourcing that she just mentioned, in my world, in the tech world, they are cherry picking the best developers in the world to help them build out AI systems. Like, quite literally, they're going to India, Pakistan, all the countries that everyone's like, oh, I don't want anything to do with those countries. They're going to those countries, getting the best developers that money can buy. For that economy, they're getting them relatively cheap. And they're importing them to the States. They're like, hey, we're going to give you a better life. We're going to give you a big salary. Come to the States, work for us for life, and we'll change your life. And so, when you see all these people, getting fired for AI layoffs and stuff like that, meanwhile, there's a whole group of people getting paid a lot of money to build out these systems, guys. We have to pay attention.
To the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services data, in 2025 alone, Amazon has received approval for 10,044 H-1B visas. Amazon Web Services, their cloud division, was approved for 2,347 H-1B visas, and those are definitely developers.
Yep.
Think about that. If AI is so good that it's replacing human coders, then why does Amazon Web Services need over 2,000 visas to bring workers into the U.S.? If AI agents are handling everything, why do they need over 10,000 visas just in 2025?
That's because and this fun, she might not be an AI person like Vannessa Wingard. Cool channel. You might not be an AI person, but Amazon and friends and Google, they're preparing the force, literal development force for the future landscape of artificial intelligence. They're digging into the human resources now, and it's like, oh well, AI is not perfect. Why are these people still hiring? They're hiring a literal platoon to build out these systems. So that might be a misconception. If you see, I mean, a lot of people are getting laid off because of AI, or that's what people are saying. But generally, if there's a hiring wave anywhere, or there's a pocket of hires, if you look closely at who's getting hired, developers en masse. And that's why I always, the IT people, you're not out in the weeds when it comes to jobs. Like if you're really really good and you learn AI and how to put together those systems, you'll have a lot of work. Like we get new healthcare providers, businesses, Canadian businesses into our discovery room pretty much every week, looking for AI services. So, if you're watching this and you want to, try your way in the AI industry, I'll book a discovery call with us. We'll see what you can do. But there's no shortage of need for AI expertise within these companies.
Trying to say that AI is replacing all jobs, but that's an oversimplified narrative, and it's often used as a cover for these corporations who are doing more complex and controversial business practices. Corporations started using the H-1B visa to bring in labor, pay them less, and effectively lay off American workers. We just saw this recently with Tesla. Tesla is currently in a lawsuit that alleges that they replaced over 6,000 American workers with visa holders as a means to cut costs. Now, I want to be clear that this is not me being anti-immigration. I myself am an immigrant. We shouldn't be upset at H-1B visa holders for accepting an opportunity provided to them by these corporations. But what we should be upset about is the exploitation. Corporations are exploiting both American workers who they lay off and the immigrant workers who they often underpay and overwork because their visa is tied to their employment. Now, with that, let's revisit Salesforce. As I said, in 2025 alone, Salesforce received 1,137 H-1B visas. In 2024, they received 1,525, and in 2023, they received 1,021. That's a total of 3,683 visas, almost the same amount of people that they just laid off. Now let's look at their Indian office. Salesforce employs over 13,000 people in India alone. So how much of this is actually due to AI and not insourcing or outsourcing? Because what the pandemic taught these corporations is that operations could continue as normal, and it could be even more cost effective if they used remote workers. In fact, it's estimated that over 1,700 global capacity centers have been established in India, employing more than 1.6 million professionals. The data shows a correlation between US corporations outsourcing tech jobs and India's booming IT sector.
So guy, it's funny because like people in Canada, they see immigrants from India coming here, and it's like, oh, they're taking our jobs. They're taking our jobs. Guys, India's getting thrusted with jobs left, right, and center. Either the people who come here or developers who live there. Like, look at all of these companies. Amazon India Development Center, Salesforce India, IBM India. Like, if I was an Indian person, I'd literally just stay in India and learn how to develop, because you'll have quite literally world-class monolith companies looking for your skills. I mean, you have to be competitive, of course. I can only imagine how competitive the development landscape is in India. But these companies are racing to the bottom. How can we get the most value for the cheapest? Hey guys, there's people in India who are willing to work for a lot less, and do a lot more. How about we go there? So this is a pretty good video. I will say, and if you're living in North America, you got to understand, like, if your company you work for has any sort of a global reach or digital reach, odds are they're going to be looking to outsource a lot of their operations to India to make it cheaper. Like, all companies across the board are trying to figure out how to do things cheaper. That's just the direction the world is going. So we really got to pay attention to this stuff, guys. Upgrade your skills.
Salesforce, Microsoft, Amazon, they've all largely contributed to India's economic growth.
Most entrepreneurs chase efficiency, but if it's not paired with this one thing, you're optimizing yourself into burnout. See, I always told myself I'd get to a
Guys, you're going to get ads from, as soon as you start getting into the AI space, you're going to get ads from Motion, Salesforce. You're going to see Matthew McConaughey, Idris Elba come up on your screen, try to sell you AI. There's two worlds right now. The world where people are being exposed to AI like crazy and everyone else. Trust me, you'll want to be in the former.
This is eerily similar to how US manufacturers outsourced jobs to China in the 80s and 90s, helping to transform China into the world's second largest economy and pulling roughly 800 million people out of poverty. They outsourced the jobs, and now China largely competes with the US. Tech companies are now doing the exact same thing. They're outsourcing tech roles and laying off American workers. One could actually make the argument that the US government supports outsourcing, because in 2017 they passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This bill lowered the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%.
Nice.
But buried in the bill was the global intangible low-taxed income. This gave corporations massive tax cuts for moving their operations overseas. Here's how insane this is. If a corporation makes profits in the US, they pay an effective tax rate of 21%. But if they make profit on a foreign subsidiary, they only pay 10.5%. As you would guess, this incentivizes corporations to move their operations overseas.
And guys, we got to understand, like, if you're a person who doesn't run or own a business, this is going to be like, oh, it's not fair. Well, why is that happening? Oh. I mean, and as soon as you start your own business, you're like, oh yeah, tax cuts. So the world is screaming and signaling to us, guys, start your own business, benefit from all this stuff that's happening. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big business, but it could just be a one that's a little bit profitable. Maybe bringing you $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a year extra on top of what you're doing in your 9 to 5. The difference is paramount, and you'll be able to take advantage of a lot of these things happening with tax and stuff like that. Like the financial, my financial standing and sustainability did not harden until I had a corporation. And I understood, holy shit, I can write all this stuff off, or holy shit, I can get less taxes here by doing this, or get or hold on to more revenue here by doing this. Like you start to work with the machine that everyone hates. The big companies and all that stuff. Once you get into it yourself, and you start to see the benefits of having your own business, and even if you just had your own corporation and you moved a lot of your expenses through it. Like there's a profound advantage to it. And these companies aren't just going to look at their advantages and say, we're just going to not take advantage of these things and we're going to pay people more domestically. No, they're going to say, how do we increase shareholder value? Because most of the companies you saw on that screen, they have stocks and shares, and people who own the stocks have interests. These companies are only looking out for those people, not for their employees. I'm seriously thinking to myself, like, at some point in time, in the pecking order of priorities, businesses are going to hold shareholders at the top, and employees are going to be literally approaching the bottom. And you'll even see digital infrastructure and capital expenditure on machines and stuff like that be above the value of employees. It's sick. It's sick. Like, human beings are being devalued en masse, but that's just our reality, guys. We have to pay attention, and we have to give ourselves skills that harden our value so that we can walk confidently into the future economy.
Went from paying 35% to 10.5%. You may have heard of the executive order that would apply a $100,000 fee to the H-1B visa process as a means to stop these companies from bringing in talent from outside the US. However, it's quite unclear how this will actually work. Even if this worked perfectly, corporations could just skip visas entirely because they're still rewarded for offshoring jobs. Yeah. Executives not only benefit from offshoring, but they benefit from every headline that says AI layoffs. Executive compensation is directly tied to stock performance.
There you go.
Corporations lay off, the stock price goes up, and executives cash in. We recently saw this with Bumble, who announced they would be laying off 30% of their workforce. That same day, their stock price jumped up 25%. I'm sure the executives had a nice dinner at Nobu that night. And then you have the venture capitalists
Nobu.
like Jason
Love
Calacanis
shit,
claiming
Nobu.
that Amazon will be 100% AI by 2030. Every factory worker gone.
Okay, hold on. 100% AI in less than 5 years, guys. Like I'll tell you right now, some of these big companies and the executives who work there, they're like high on AI. Like they're just out to lunch to loot it. As an AI operator and someone who builds machines, like literally builds robots to do stuff, and I'm not that smart. I just work hard and I tinker away, spend hours on ChatGPT learning about technical crap that no one likes, get work for it, get paid. I tell you right now, human in the loop. Human in the loop is a technical term that says humans need to be somewhere involved in operations that AI is carrying out. It's called the human in the loop workflow. And there's not going to be any 100% AI operations for some time, guys. There's always going to have to be some AI operator somewhere fixing something that broke or like smoothing over some sort of humanization cosmetic for the audience to digest the AI more. It's like there's so much things to do with AI that to say we're going to be at 100% is that's when we're like living in a world of like Wayland Yutani where we have synthetics walking around and they can do work. That we're well off that. But I will say that that realm of possibility isn't, it's not impossible. It might be on the horizon just in 5 years. That's really, really fast. Really, really fast. And we still need a lot more people to understand this technology and start building stuff. Because all of these AI operations need to be built from scratch. Like all of these automations, like all this automatic stuff everyone's seeing, like you have to build that stuff from scratch, guys. And it's hard. It doesn't just work right away. So 2030 full 100% AI? Yeah, right. I would be absolutely shocked. I'd be impressed, but shocked if that were the case.
On every driver replaced, the same Amazon that just got approved for a total of 12,391 visas. But keep in mind, this is the same guy that needs his AI investments to blast off to the moon. And I recognize that Amazon does have a lot of automation. I just find it strange when people make these types of claims, yet they're continuing to hire people, just in a way that most people don't see.
Before 2030, you're going to see Amazon, which has massively invested in this, replace all factory workers and all drivers. The idea that when you order something from Amazon, a human would touch it at any point in that supply chain is insane. It will be 100% robotic, which means all of those workers are going away. Every Amazon worker, all those jobs, UPS gone, FedEx gone. All of those are going to be gone, and those companies will be more profitable.
You know what's actually?
And you know what? He's talking about the most extreme scenario. But yes, like to fully give everything to AI, that's when we're at like AGI levels where these things are Skynet level powerful. Like we're not there yet. Everyone is so high on this stuff that they're just looking out to the farthest, most optimized point in AI and on our adoption roadmap. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna get there. It is insanely difficult, guys. AI putting it together, automations, making sure they're perfect. They break. You got to fix them. You got to retune them, recalibrate them. It's like humans have to be involved. And there's a huge demand for these skills. So if you're thinking about what to do next, seriously consider AI. But, to the idea that 100% of people are going to be replaced, we're well off that, guys. We've seen the companies that have tried to do mass replacements of their staff with AI crumble because they don't have enough AI operators who can competently use the technology. It's so funny to me. Putting these automations together and watching these big companies throw all these people around, it's like, go a little bit slower, a little bit more steady. Not only will the AI implementations be better, but the people who are, losing their jobs, they might end up having a better job in sort of AI automation workflow engineering role. It's like if we look at this and pay attention and sort of try and figure out what's going on exactly instead of rushing, we'll do a lot better.
Really insane. A venture capitalist who probably hasn't worked a physical job in decades, if at all, declaring that millions of Americans will be obsolete in 5 years due to the AI that he's invested in. But with all of that being said, AI is replacing some roles. Many of the jobs being lost rely heavily on the English language, and this just so happens to be the perfect use case for large language models. Things like content moderation, basic copywriting, and customer service. ServiceNow is a tech company offering a platform of AI agents to replace human workers.
We're slowing down the hiring in jobs that are, quite frankly, soul-crushing jobs. I mean, just think about like IT support, customer support. 80% of the customer inquiries and cases now are fully managed by agentic AI. And the same is true of go-to-market. You know, think about people that talk to customers. There's no prep work anymore. Their AI teammate is doing that for them at ServiceNow. The supporting cast of the soul-crushing work is now being done by agents. They work hard 24/7. You don't have to pay them, and they don't eat any lunch, and they don't have any healthcare benefits. So they're very affordable.
We say all that stuff on our sales calls to try and encourage business owners who literally aren't hiring. They're not hiring, and they're doing like we have some business owners who are like literally on the phone 7, 8 o'clock answering the phone for their business, as opposed to just having an AI agent have the call and getting back to that person the next day. So and their choice is to literally just not hire. There's a whole bunch of businesses who are looking at the landscape of labor, and they're just saying to themselves, we can't find anyone. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, the on-ramp for people to get jobs, at the entry level, it's completely changed. You have to have a different set of skills, or you have to currently be in a role that perfectly aligns with the requirements of the jobs you're applying for, like literally word for word, because AI agents are scanning your resume and then looking for a likeness to the job application. So let's just say 100 people have applied to a job. Whose ever resume has a contextual or even like a syntactical uh, uh, congruence with the job posting, meaning like the words on your resume are literally matching the words on the job posting. AI is going to index your resume and give you a score. And of 100 applicants, the people, maybe the top 3 to 5 people who have, relevant scores that are closely matching to the job posting, those people are going to get interviews. So, and if you're looking for a job, there's now AI tools that will do this automatically for you. There is literally an AI tool. I can't remember the name. I saw it and I was like, whoa, that's a pretty good tool that will take your resume and transform it syntactically and contextually to align with all of these different job postings and just post it automatically. But then you have to think to yourself, well, if everyone's doing that and everyone's resumes start to look the same because of AI, and AI is trying to figure out how exactly to gauge whether or not someone's capable enough for the job, we're literally turning the lights off in terms of the truth of people's skills versus the jobs that they can do. People or hiring managers are not letting people know, like, hey, like if you apply to this, there's probably a 99.99% chance you're not going to get the job. No one's saying that, but that's reality. And the people applying for roles, they're in a position where either they have no responses to their applications, or they're fighting their way through a layer of AI agents that are trying to determine whether or not their resume is relevant. And so, like, because this is the job market now, like, you're better off starting a business, because the one thing that I can say 100% is that a lot of these companies, they don't have the internal skills, technical skills, to deploy a lot of these systems or operations that they want to do. They literally just don't have the people internally, and they don't want to hire. So what does that mean? They want to contract out the work, so they're not fully committing to something, and they also are getting the value from deep level expertise. We have to pay attention, guys. Start your own business. Become skilled at something. You're going to do well.
It's not innovation, it's dehumanization.
She's right.
Unsurprisingly, they're working with companies like Delta, Uber, and Visa, so we can make the assumption that these companies let go of workers in favor of using ServiceNow AI agents. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics came out with revised data on job growth. The gist of the report is that after revising the numbers, there were actually 911,000 fewer jobs created than previously predicted.
So the unemployment rate for computer engineering graduates has more than tripled over the last year. A screenshot from the New York Fed report a year ago, computer engineering, 2.3% unemployment. Same source, a year later, computer engineering, 7.5% unemployment.
crazy.
And this is actually true. Art history, 3% unemployment. Do not get an art history degrees, my God.
And according to the Ludwig
Yeah, it's not
Institute,
good.
the real unemployment rate is somewhere around 24.7%,
Holy
not the
shit.
4.3% that headlines claim.
That is
They
crazy.
count anyone without a full-time job or those making less than $25,000 a year as functionally unemployed. Of course, this isn't how the US government measures economic health.
Oh, of course
That's what the stock market is for. As companies are growing, they're just not hiring more people. In certain roles, one person can do the work of 3 people by using some type of AI tool.
Yes.
Multiply this across every growing company, and you get those 911,000 jobs.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't mean that's actually the cause, because as we saw, the economy is not doing great, but it can explain some of this job loss.
I've officially been unemployed for a year and 4 months now, and I did not think it was going to be this difficult to get a job post-grad. And I feel like every single day my chances of getting a job seem to get lower and lower because I feel like I graduated so long ago. And even internships where I'm supposed to be gaining my experience require you to either still be in school or recently graduated.
The real tragedy here.
Okay, I feel bad for this girl. She's a woman, so she's got soft features, but you can tell like she's a little bit soft around the edges. I'm a graduate, and I should have been getting this internship, and I didn't. So it's becoming like that mentality is not going to cut it out here at all. You have to go hard. You have to go hard enough where your aura or your presence is just literally overpowering the aura and presence of your competition, direct competition. Whether that means more people have heard your voice on the phone, more people have seen your face on YouTube, more people have seen your brand on Google, whatever it is, it's an infinite battle. It must be engaged with every single day. And a lot of these grads are coming out of nice, cushy situations where they went to school. I remember when I was in school, university, I didn't give a shit about shit. I thought the world was easy. As soon as you get out into the real world and you're making applications to jobs, like, oh, I got to get jobs. It's kind of hard. At least you could get a job back then. Now you can't. Literally, companies are just simply not hiring. They're taking your resumes, but they're not hiring. Companies are cherry picking for people who have a particular set of skills for the new economy. So if that's the case, you have to upskill in order to survive. What we're witnessing right now, I personally believe, is natural selection process happening to human beings. It's a very hard pill to swallow because in the world of natural selection through the lens of nature, not everyone makes it, guys. Not everyone's supposed to make it. Like, that's the truth. And for a long time in humanity, everyone's been making it. We have a nice, convenient life where we get warmth and electricity and food very easily from the grocery store, no problem. But the seams are bursting. And so when you have young people who can't get work, young people are supposed to be the first people to get work because they're young, they're strong, they're fast. But this type of, oh, I tried my best and I couldn't, I had a job for a while. That's not, you need to be aggressive. You need to find the killer inside of you and go and eat what you kill. Like it's man, I really do hope that young people, at least someone young, sees this and they're thinking, I'm trying my best to get a job. Try harder, learn more skills. You have to.
experience require you to either still be in school or recently graduated.
The real tragedy here is all of the people currently graduating who can't land an entry-level job. How do they become senior if they can't even be junior? And it's worth noting that these corporations have for quite a while been trying to eliminate entry-level positions by making it really hard to even get hired. How can you get 3 years of experience if you don't have experience? If you're willing to switch careers, I do think being in a trade is much harder to automate. And at the rate that these data centers are going up, anything to do with electricity will be needed. Electricians, electrical engineers, basically anything required to build a data center. And if we go back to the Bureau of Labor of Statistics, the only two fields that actually saw growth was education and healthcare. And this makes sense because even when the economy is bad, people are going to have children, and thus we need teachers, and people are also going to need healthcare.
Hold on.
So to
Healthcare, I agree with. Children, not so much. I just finished doing a couple other videos where birth rates are declining like across the globe like crazy. We're gonna be having less and less kids. We're gonna have a whole shitload of older people that will need taken care of. We're entering that what was that movie? I got to get the name of that movie now. Damn it. End of Men. What was it called? Let me see if I can do this without screwing up the screen. End of Men movie. No More Children Born. Let's see. What was that movie called? Children of Men. Children of Men is a 2006 dystopian thriller where humanity is facing extinction because no children have been born for 18 years. So I really don't. I mean, that's a movie, but we're having less and less kids, guys. More older people, more single adults. Prepare for that world.
To answer the question, is AI taking jobs? The answer is yes, but these CEOs are blaming AI for the layoffs, completely disregarding the visa exploitation and the tax-subsidized offshoring. Every time they credit AI for layoffs, the stock price shoots up and they cash in. They're using AI as a cover for the real extent of their greed.
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to subscribe to this girl just because let's get a better screen grab for you there. This. Oh, God. Let's get a nicer face. I like her because her content's insightful. I'm subscribed to Vannessa, but I got to say, like, even what you're saying, stock prices are going up. What does that tell you guys? Buy some stocks. The only people that are getting hired have skills in AI and development. What does that tell you guys? Get some skills in AI. It's like somehow being an AI person is like evil or something. Like, oh, it's evil. You're creating AI automations, robots. Like, I can tell you right now, when I tell people I'm in AI, they go, "Wow, it's great, cool." You go online, you go on YouTube and tell people to get AI, they're like, "Fuck you." But the companies are trying their best to not only anticipate and predict what's the future landscape is going. They're doing it in like en masse, where you see how many people were getting hired from overseas just to come in and build AI operations. And yes, companies are incentivized to say, hey, we just got rid of a whole bunch of workers because we have AI. And by the way, our bottom line is going to be stronger. Congratulations, shareholders. So these are the incentives and motivations of the powers that be, the company owners, the directors, people like that. If you feel like they are doing you wrong by operating in their own best interests because they become powerful, that's just like saying, let's just say we were in the jungle and lions were killing gazelles because they had the power to do so. If you're a part of if you're a gazelle, you're like, hey, that's not fair. We don't like that. But if you're any other predator, if you're any other being that needs to eat, you're going to look at that lion and say, well, the lion has to eat, and the lion's super powerful, so we're not going to get in the lion's way because the lion going to bite us. So I would say, if you're, look at this Canadian Canadian YouTuber. What was that for? I was trying to find another guy. We're going to do a video with him after. If you're trying to find fault with these companies, just know that they're doing things in the best interest of the company, the corporation, and the shareholders, the most prioritized stakeholder of a company. Work with them. Learn about stocks, invest your money into stocks. Don't think that you're on the outside of this stuff. If you're a Canadian, go to wealthsimple.com or .ca or whatever. I'm on my Wealthsimple every day. Like, take advantage of these systems that are seemingly taking advantage of people, but they're just operating within the boundaries of the law that have been around for hundreds of years, guys. So it's really hard for me to look at these companies and say, oh, you're doing something bad. I'm just looking at the company saying, oh, you're adapting, you're evolving. I guess I better evolve too, because you're super powerful. Like, if a lion started growing wings, you're going to see a lot of the birds and the creatures that fly get a little bit more sharp and head on a swivel. like we really have to pay attention to the changes that are happening within these centers of power and try to adapt. Let's hear what the last few words she has to say, and then we'll wrap it up.
These CEOs are blaming AI for the layoffs, completely disregarding the AI for the cover for the real extent of their greed.
And obviously, I mean, greed. When you don't have things to eat, you're greedy about everything. But of course, like, if you're making money and money's looked at as something that can give you power and survival and stuff, and you're making hand over fist hundreds of millions of dollars, and you want to make 200, 300 more million, like, yeah, greed, but no one in these positions of like ultra high net worth are thinking about people who are not in those positions. They're just thinking about their own worlds. We're just looking at them. So the best thing that we can do is quite literally acclimate and try to move with the monsters. Like, I take the same principle when I'm trading my stocks. I mean, this is a very basic example, but when stocks are going down, the only people usually buying those stocks are like the big institutions and people who can create the market maker, so to speak. So when everyone's getting afraid and selling their stocks down, like, oh my God, no, I don't want to lose any more money. Sell. Someone has to buy it. The people who are buying it generally have a lot of money. So, okay, whatever, I'll buy your stock. I'll wait 5 years. No problem. They wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The stock is now like 5x. And you're looking at it, oh, why did I sell it back 5 years ago? They're like, oh, well, we've had this stock for 5 years. You want it back for 5x more? It's like it's usually smaller entities, like individuals, that get afraid of this stuff. But when it comes to companies, like organizations, they're all moving in tandem and working together to advance their operations. So we have to pay attention to that. Anyways, I thought this was a really good video because it's just going to show that, the incentives around AI, even for the most powerful executives in the world, is even just telling their shareholders, hey, AI is getting rid of jobs, pump up the stock price. And at the same time, individual people are going, well, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. This is bad if you're on the outside. Learn some AI skills, get on the inside, it'll change your life. I'm going to leave this one at that. We're at about 37 minutes. If you like the type of conversation we're having here and you think it has some value, hit like and subscribe. If you want to learn about AI, go to chatgpt.com and just say, hey, give me a very simple lesson on how all this stuff works. It's going to teach you a lot of stuff. It'll teach you anything you want. If you want to learn about what we're doing, go to peakdemand.ca. We build out AI automations and workflows for businesses that may not have an internal team or the technical capability or deep knowledge internally. And, we get more activity every week, guys. We get more activity literally every single week. More and more people are asking about this stuff. So move with the trend. Do not try and buck against it. You will lose. With that being said, I look forward to the next one and all of us being winners, baby. Let's go.